friends, welcome back to Daily Sews and Stuff. My name is Branelyn Daly, and today we are talking about using Tami from House of Hotard's 2024 sewing tracker on Google Sheets. Tami created this sewing tracker last year in 2023, and she created it on Excel. That has something to do with her normal everyday real life job where she does stuff like this and she's like a queen at Excel, and she made an awesome tracker. And I used it last year, but I don't pay for Microsoft Excel, and so I found a way to make it work on Google Sheets. This year, she asked if I would help to make that available for others within Google Sheets world. So she created another one in Excel, and I have made it work in Google Sheets as best as I know how. Now, let's preface a few things here. If you have been watching other videos on my channel, then you will know that me sitting here like this means we are doing a casual video where I'm recording my screen for most of the video. I'm not going to heavily edit this video. You're just going to see what I'm doing and follow along with me. Also, Tami is a genius and made this awesome sheet that works really, really well, I'm sure, in Excel. It works a little bit less well in Google Sheets. It still works. It still works. I did it last year in 2023, and I have already begun using it in 2024. However, it's definitely not going to work quite as well, and there are still some things that aren't working right. Now, if you are a Google Sheets whiz and you know how to make this work, leave me a little comment, send me an email, send me a DM over on Instagram. I don't care what you do. Get a hold of me. Let's figure out how to get this working as perfectly as I can. I would love to get to that stage. So let's look at, we're going to go through all the different little tabs at the bottom. We're going to talk about what is the same, what's a little bit different. We're mainly going to talk about the pivot charts and how they work a tiny bit differently in Sheets than they do in Excel. Again, if you know how to make this work more easily, let me know. Let's figure it out. And then we'll talk about the things that aren't quite working yet and see what we can do maybe to get them working. All right, so let's switch over to Sheets and see what we can see. When you first receive the link for the 2024 sewing summary and you open it up, it's going to look like this. This is the please read section at the bottom. If yours doesn't automatically open to this section, just click on this little guy at the bottom. On the left here, there is a bunch of information from Tami, and all I did was use this little cross out font to cross out the parts that don't apply to us using Sheets. There's one here, and there's one here, and there's a little bit here. And then I added my information on this side to tell you about the things that were a little bit different. So like Tami said, number 1 right here, the stuff that she said in that number 1 were super important, but I have something also super important that I put as a number 1. So this is what I'm going to show you before we pull into anything else. Right now, before you do anything else, click on the File tab, and then click on Make a Copy. And type your own name here. So I'm going to call it DSS for Daily Sews and Stuff, and I'm going to click Make a Copy. This automatically opens this new fresh version, and I can do whatever I want to this version, and it will not mess up anybody else's tracker. If I go through and I mess with this tracker, however, it can mess up other people's trackers. So now that we've made our copy, we're going to completely close this and look at our new copy. We can tell it's our new copy because it has our new name right there. At this point, you can rename that anything that you would like to. Save this in your own Google Drive, and it is yours to do with what you want, as long as you are respectful, of course, of Tami's work and all of those things. But yeah, we have done this number 1. Now, her number 2 does not apply, and I have written a number 2 that addresses the same amount of information, roughly, or the same type of information roughly, but it's a little bit different because this is where, I'm so sorry. This is where Sheets does things differently than Excel. And that's basically what most of this video is going to be about. So I'll walk you through that here in just a minute. Number three, I've just reiterated some of the things that she said there. Number four is exactly the same. Number five is exactly the same, except since we just made that copy, if you have messed up your tracker and you need to just start over fresh, just go back and make yourself a new copy of the original that we just closed. Number six, just a little bit of more information. Number seven and eight are exactly the same. Number nine, I wanted to reiterate what she said, but I also wanted to add this little information that you can't have hidden columns. I mean, you can force it to work, but it's just easier not to have hidden columns. So I just wanted to give you that little information there. Number 10 just made me laugh. Number 11, reiterate. Number 12, reiterate. And number 12, reiterate a little bit, but also say a little bit of different information there. And then I left my email and my Instagram and my Facebook here. And obviously, I'm here on YouTube at this channel. So whenever you find something that you can do better than me, please tell me. Please, please tell me, because I want it to be as easy as possible for me to use, but I also want to make sure that everybody else gets it as easy as possible for them to use. With all of that being said, I'm now going to skip to the very last sheet and show you how to work backwards towards the left to do all the things that this can do. It makes sense to start here because this has to be filled in order to use any of the drop downs in the other tabs, or on the other pages, you may want to call it. So when you open this up, you're going to get it with a ton of this information already put in. Tami had some stuff in here. I've entered a lot of my stuff from last year into here because I just copied and pasted it from my 2023. That way I could continue to use that information. So you've got some of Tami's stuff, some of my stuff, and you can go ahead and add in anything that you want to. If there is a pattern company you use all the time, go ahead and add them in. If there is a pattern name you use all the time, go ahead and add it in. If there's a fabric company that you always are using, go ahead and add it in. Do not feel like you have to cover every eventuality here. You can easily come back later and add them as you need them, but it does set you up for success if you just kind of start out a little bit with the information already there. Knit or woven, I'm not sure that you're going to need to add anything else to this. If you do, I guess add it. What other choices are there? And she's already said you don't need to update this. Fabric type, you go ahead and list whatever you want to call it. You can get as broad or as specific as you would like to. You're also welcome to delete any of things from this column, this column, this column, this column, this one, and this one that don't apply, or you can just leave them there. It won't hurt anything. But you can just keep kind of going through and entering things. You don't want to edit these two. That will mess things up. And then over here, you just continue on with adding where you think you'll need to add something, or as you buy it, you can come add it here if it's something new or different. I tried to be comprehensive to start my year off because that makes it a little bit easier as you go through and enter things as you go. But it's really simple to come back later and add something else. Like I could say right here, I could add friend if I were making a make and needed to come back and catch that in there. If I have completely lost you at this moment, this will probably make more sense in just a few minutes whenever I show you how this information gets used. Just go with it for right now. All right, if we go one tab to the left, other expenses purchased. And so this is where I've added that dummy information to make sure that you have that already. But I'll go ahead and add another row right now while we're talking so you can kind of see how it works. So you click this button and you choose something. Let's say I went to Michael's. Oh, here's something I've missed, and you will need to fix this on your tracker too, most likely. I'll try to go back and fix it on the original, but if you've already gotten yours, it may not be there. So this is another one of those weird things that happens when you transfer from Excel to Sheets. In Excel, you have to have these dollar signs in order to denote the cells that you're copying from, but in Sheets, you don't need the dollar signs. And also, I'm not sure why Tami chose this number in Excel. Is it the largest number it goes to? I don't know. But it makes Sheets angry. So I usually just go with 500 because that's a pretty big number as it is. And if it needs to be added to be bigger later, it can be. Um, and then I'm going to click Done. And this is super important. So I can click Apply to All. And that will make sure that all of these little guys work. So now all these drop down works. I bought some dye from there, which, oh, this one's messed up too. Okay, I'm going to show you a different way to do the same thing. So this is a Notion category. So when I click on this little window button and I want to click on this is telling me it's master list K. So I'm going to go over here to the master list sheets and I'm going to look for column K, and that's this. And so I want to highlight all of those. And that's doing the same thing as the typing I did a second ago. And then I can also go back and add this and make that to 500. So it will make sure that it encompasses that entire column if I continue to add things to it. And then I click Done and Apply to All because, again, we want to make sure that gets applied to everything. Okay, so, and did it fix it? Yes. So here I'm going to say that that die was in the die category. And I spent $9.90. I'm going to spend $9.98 on it. And I bought it here in 2024. And I only bought one. Okay, so I closed that. X, don't need that right now. All right, this right here gives you the information that I'm about to tell you. But I'm just going to tell you right now. So right now, this is saying that dye was 100% of what I did this year. It changed that. It took dye, but it skipped sewing needles. What happened? Well, and skipped other notions because this is my category. What happened? Well, if you see this little table right here, it is taking the information from this table. This is a pivot chart. This is how it works. This is where it gets the information from to make these little tables. The thing is, I don't know that these really transferred over as well as they could have from Excel. So here's how we fix this. We click on this little button and we click Edit Charts. And then it's going to give us another little window button here where we can click to get a range. And if we scoot over here, we can see, okay, so it says it's getting the information from P6 and P7. Well, here's P6 and here's P7. Our problem is that it also needs to include P8. So we're just going to tell it to also include P8. We can do that same thing right here, or we can just type 8, whatever makes you happier. And now it will take all of that information from this whole little charty guy right here and use it to create this graph. And that's what we want. We want to be able to see how that splits. All right, moving to the left, we've got pattern purchases here. And we can continue to add things to our charts here. I'm going to go ahead and add something mostly so I can see if everything is working. I'm going to just do this just for funsies here. So since I added that this was bought in 2023, but sewn in 2024, it went ahead and added a pattern sewn right there. But here it tells me, no, it wasn't used in 2024. Which is interesting. I think because this is this is getting information from another thing. So we'll go back and fix that in a minute. So that's how these numbers up here get calculated. And it's saying that the sew rate is 100% because they've all been sewn in 2024. I'm actually going to change this. I'm going to erase this. And then we'll see that there's no 2023 patterns that have been sewn. And my sew rate is still 100% for 2024 patterns. But it's not 100% now for my 2023 patterns. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add this back just because I want to get some other stuff going here. All right. So again, I have 3 patterns on here now, but I only have 2 patterns showing here. So we use the exact same process to fix this. We're going to edit the chart. That's going to tell us where this information is coming from, and we can then come and fix it. Oh, but we can't, right? Because that's not right. That's not showing it. Okay, the problem with that might be the year of purchase. That's the problem with that. It's not showing both years. So, honestly, I don't know that we need it to show both, but we can make it show both for right now. Um, but frankly, that's actually true for 2024. If we go back and we change this to 2024, and then let's change this to nothing, because we're just experimenting right now. Now we can see we've got this added here, but it didn't add here. So this is where we're going to do edit chart. We're going to ask for this, and we're going to change these ranges. We're going to give it another row each, and that will change that. Same thing here. We just have to give ourselves another row here. And then this is counting the year of purchase, which is, oh, but it's not though. It's not counting the year of purchase because of that. Hold on. Why are you not counting? Yep, that's true. Well, why are you not 3 though? Hmm. Okay, so we're going to try hitting F5, which will reload everything, and see if that fixes that. No, it's still telling me only 2 pattern. Ah, so it's somehow the blanks. I guess it's because there's a blank right here that it's not. This might be counting this, actually. I'm going to let that be. Um, we'll see as we go along this year how that affects anything. I think it might be okay. Everything seems to still be working, so we'll just leave it for right now. All right, we're going to go over to the left to fabric purchases. And this is the first page we're encountering where one of our charts does not work. And let me show you why. So this is getting its data from AF and AG. And if we keep scrolling over, we see that AF and AG, the chart that should be there, that should be giving the information to this graph, it's not a chart. It didn't automatically come over. It's not this blue and gray charty chart thing that automatically gets put in there that we need to be put in there to make it work. It's not working. So I have not gone through and attempted to create that chart. I know enough to fix the ones that Tami made, but I don't know enough to make my own. And I don't even think that I'm very efficiently fixing the ones that Tami made. So yet again, let me make my little plea here for if you know how to do this, please contact me. Thanks. Okay. But this is just like those other 2 pages. It gives us a nice breakdown what we buy as woven, what we buy as knit, where we are buying or which companies we're buying from, which kind of fabric we're buying, the total fabric purchased. That says in 2023. I'm not sure why. That's okay. Maybe just saying what we sewn up from last year. Not sure about that, but that's okay. And over here, as you are entering makes, you can use your stash and scraps, fabric 1 and fabric 2. I also, though, have done this where I've said that my fabric company is from Stash. I may have taken that off of there. And then included some more information here. No, I haven't. Erase that last little bit. Okay. If there is something that comes from my stash, meaning I bought it in 2023, but I know what it is and where it came from, I will still go in and add that in. so that I still have total costs and everything. But I'm not going to go through right now and look at my shelf and add every single fabric into here because I just would go crazy doing that. Here it's, let me just give you a little bit of information here. This is telling us that we bought 5 yards. I entered that. Anything that has this taupe color, you're entering the information. Anything that's this white color is a formula, and it's going to figure it out for you. So I told it I bought 5 yards and that I used 2 yards. So there's 3 yards still unused. So it's telling me that it's still in inventory. If I were to change this to 5, not by typing 5 here, because I don't want to directly type anything that's white. But if I went to my fabric used sheet and changed that number to 5 there, it would change it to 5 here, and it would tell me that it was out of inventory. I'm going to do that quickly just to demonstrate this. So fabric used, I'm going to change this to 5, and I'm going to go back over here. And so that's going to tell me that all of it's used, none of it's unused, and I completed it in January. I'm going to go back and say to, this is all made up fake information, but there might have been a reason I had it that way, so I want to make sure I leave it that way. Okay, so this tells me really good information, I feel like. And this will give me average days in inventory once things start coming out of inventory, and total costs and stuff. This is just your fabric sew rate. This is super nitty gritty but important information to make sure you're not wasting, I feel like. And I'm loving these charts. I just don't know how to make this one work. So help, please. This little note tells you that that one's not working. This is the note telling you the whole thing where you tell it the 3 dots and the edit and the whatever. I'm not going to demonstrate that again. I've done it a couple of times now. Moving to the left, notions used. This is a really simple sheet where all we're doing is adding things in. So let's say that we used notion number 3, which was our, hold on. Oops, it was notion 2. Let's say we used notion number 2, which was our die. Now, again, we only enter the taupe colors. So all I had to do was put a 2 there, and then the white colored guys automatically inputted themselves from that other page. And now I'm going to say that I used it. It's going to tell me the total cost, and then I'm going to tell it what I used it on, which is going to be my next project, which is in makes, which will be project number 3. I'm going to go ahead and put that just so I can show you on that in a minute on that page, some other stuff. Actually, I want to pause here and go back to these other expenses purchased. So in 2023, this one was called notions purchased, so that it was matching fabric pattern notions, fabric notions. And we talk about the patterns in makes. The reason that it got changed to other expenses purchased is Tami and I were talking, and she had done that on her own, and I had said that I had trouble entering things like website maintenance on my notions page because that's not a notion, but I wanted to track things like, what do I pay every year for my website? What do I, buy for filming? What do I pay when I go pay to have my machines maintained or repaired? So that's why this is a little bit broader now, and that's why we have things like a category here. So I can do things like if I bought this machine, or like last year I bought an iron, or if I needed to get maintenance or repair done, or if I needed to pay for my website or whatever it was. So that's why this is more broad now, and why we have a little bit more to work with here, which I think is a great addition to this 2024. And in fact, I just got charged for my website the other day, and I need to go add that on mine that I'm actually using, not this sample one. Okay, going back to notions used, you're not really going to enter every time you use your iron. You're not really going to enter every time you use your website or anything like that. But this is for the ones that are truly our notions that you're buying and using up. Sewing needles, dye, etc. Okay. This one is really simple. You're just adding these in. Earlier when I was looking for which notion it was, I just clicked back over here to find it, but you can also, in theory, click that button and find it, but apparently that doesn't work here. That one does, though. All right, that works. So you can figure out which one you used it on. All right. If I've just confused you, ignore that bit. It's fine. All right, we're going to move to the left again. Fabric used. So we just said we made a project 3. So let's pretend we've made a project 3 here. And let's pretend on that project 3, we used up some more of that fabric from Surge Fabric Shop. We had 3 yards left. Let's say we used 2 more of them. And then again, we don't enter white. We don't enter in the white squares. These are going to get filled in once we've done a few more things to the left here. So we're going to let that be. It's going to solve itself in just a minute. All right, we're going to keep going to the left. And here we are entering things to say when we got some money back. Like last year, I sold a sewing machine. Like I get paid, this number's not actually far off, twice a year, $10-ish from Amazon. Like I get paid 3-ish times a year, $100-ish from YouTube for, I guess royalties is what I would call it. You know, whatever it is. I get paid for teaching a sewing lesson. I get paid for a pattern test. I get a free pattern for doing a pattern test. Whatever it might be, you go ahead and you enter it in here. And you can call it cash, non-cash, store credit, whatever. You enter all of these. This you're going to actually type out. Everything else is, oh, and the value. Everything else is going to be a drop down back from that master list that you added a long time ago. So anyways, this is going to just keep tracking things for you. You add things as you go. I do want to say, way back on the please read, I tell you not to delete, to just write over what I have already done here. So let's write over this just to show how that will change things. This doesn't even make any sense, but just go with it here. Okay. Yeah. And that will come back and, oh, well, I said that would come, oh, because it went to the grand total. Okay. Well, so we'll fix this little guy in just a second too. You can always add the project to this, which will balance the money that you spent on a project with the money you made on a project. And we'll look at that when we get to this next tab. But just wanted you to see that information. Okay, let's look over here. So let's ask you to edit the chart. And we'll scooch over here to this AE. Yeah. Okay, but why aren't you pulling in? Oh, okay. So we want it to show IG. We just don't want it to show blanks. So now it's actually, so I shouldn't have changed that a second ago. Okay, that's okay. We can change it back. And that should have fixed all of that. This doesn't seem to be fixed though. That one is only, see, for some reason, that's not showing both of those. All right. That's cool. That's fixed now. Anyway, so you just have to go through and do little things like that I feel like Sheets is probably capable of handling without me making it weird like that, but I don't know how to do that. So, I mean, I make it specific because if you leave the blanks in there, it gets real funky about that too. And it includes, see, it includes the benefit, like it includes the blank row. When you take the blank row out, it fixes itself. So you definitely have to take the blank row out, but I don't know why. And I don't know why it doesn't just, no, I don't know. And that might be like a filter by condition. Maybe that's, I don't know. I need help. Help me if you know how to help me. Again, I have figured out how to make it work. It's just labor intensive. And I will say this before we move on to the last couple things here, that for me, my goal is to every single time I make a purchase, enter it in one of these. Every single time I use a notion or fabric, um, I enter it here. Every single time I get a benefit, I enter it here. Every single time I do a make, I enter it here. I want to be super, super consistent and make sure I am always entering those things as soon as I get them or as soon as I buy them or use them or whatever. Because otherwise, that's going to get behind. I mean, maybe I don't do it that day, but I do it that week. Once a week, make sure I'm going through and entering all that. But I personally will not be updating these tables every single week. I will update them maybe once a month. Because I do want to see them. They're useful information. It's helpful, but it's kind of tedious to go through and fix it every time you enter something. So that's my 2 cents there. All right. Now let's look at the true beauty of this thing. So when we go to makes, we've made an imaginary project 3 a minute ago. We know what we already said we used fabric and dye on it. And we're going to say that we created it here in 2024. I don't know why I'm entering this from the wrong side, but that's fine. Let's say I did this one to a friend, because remember we entered friends back at the beginning in our master list. And let's say it was a shirt, long sleeve shirt, because it was that Stella that we entered earlier, that Made for Mermaids Stella. We entered that too, didn't we? That was pattern number, 4? You can go make sure. Yes, that was pattern number 4. Oops, wrong thing. Pattern number 4. Now, this makes me a little bit miffed because we told it, we said over here, we said that we used fabric 3, and it automatically told us that was from Serge and it was French Terry. It doesn't tell us that over here. We have to enter it. It's fine. It's not that big of a deal, but it's a little bit frustrating. And I don't know if that was something that happened originally when Tami made it or something that did not translate well into sheets. Regardless, it's super simple to fix, and we have fixed it. 2 little drop downs does not take a lot of time out of my day. So we've gotten those filled out now, and it has now told us that we got no benefits from this project. We spent $5 on our pattern. We spent $18 on our fabric. We spent $10 on our notions. So we spent $32 on our entire project. And on this imaginary thing I made up here, we had gotten a $20 benefit. So once we spent this money, we ended up with making almost $2 off of our project. I also this is new this year, and this tells us what percentage was spent on the pattern versus the fabric versus the notions, which I think is a pretty cool thing to realize. And I have a feeling that most cases fabric is going to be the highest number, but in my imaginary world here, it wasn't. So this is really awesome. This is easy to add all this stuff in and see. This tab does not have any of its own little charts to see or anything. And that brings us to the summary. And y'all, this is just so sad because so much of this doesn't work. So remember on that one page where I said the reason that chart wasn't working is because it didn't become a chart like this. It was just typed like this. Same thing. That's the reason why a lot of these don't have anything yet. Some of these, like this, is taken straight from the benefits page. So as long as everything is working there, it's going to automatically bring it in here. That's how a lot of these are working pretty steadily and easily. But some of them are not working at all because they didn't come in right, or because count of what did I make is right here and it says 3, but for some reason I don't understand. It must be numeric. That is numeric. Maybe this is an easy fix. Let's see. This says it's coming from Q and R, so that's not actually coming from there. It says it's coming from Q 33. Where is that? Oh, so that's saying it's coming from up here, but there's nothing actually coming information coming there. Um, and again, this is not my skill set. I don't love math. I don't love Excel sheets. I don't or sheets. I don't know how to track all that down and make all of this do the things that I want it to do. So this page needs a lot of love and a lot of help, and I am here asking you, the community, to um, let me know when and if you get that figured out so that we can get it figured out in here. All right. If we go left again, that brings us back to the please read. And we we've read it already. So I'm going to turn it back over to my face. As I said, I would love your help. I would love for this to be a collaboration. I would love to get this working completely, because it's such a powerful thing, and I'm so excited to use it. And even as it is now, it's still really helpful to track things, but it's so much more visual and so much more informative if everything is working correctly. So if you can be a collaborator on that and help fix any of the things that are still broken, or if you know a simpler way to do anything that I just showed, let me know. Please, 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 I am begging you. If you want to make your own video and show all of us on your YouTube channel and let me know, I will send people there. If you don't want to have any credit given to you at all, you just want to tell me how to fix it and let me tell everybody, I'm cool with that too. I will do whatever you want. I don't want this to be about me. I didn't even make this thing, but I do want everybody to have the best access they can to it. One more thing that's on the please read page that maybe I should have said at the very beginning. Obviously, this was done on a computer, and I know this works on a computer. You might be able to make this work on an iPad. There might be enough space there to make it work, especially if you have a pencil and you're able to really get those tiny details. But I don't think I would try to do this on a phone. It might be okay for doing some input as you go, but I think it'd be really annoying to use. And the same thing with the iPad. I think it would overall be pretty annoying to use. If you, again, that's up to you. If you want to make it work, go for it. Sheets works on just about anything. It's just a matter of how complicated it is to input things and how you feel about that. All right, I think I am going to wrap this video up here. I hope that this was helpful. I hope you are able to use Google Sheets to track your sewing. Contact me. Let's make it work better if you are at all able to do that. I think that's it. That's all the things I needed to say. Thanks so much for watching. Here's to a happy 2024 where we track all our sewing and we accomplish our sewing goals and we have fun doing it and we don't get totally depressed looking at this tracker at the end of the year seeing how much money we wasted. I think it is a really good tool to hold yourself accountable. And I really wish I had been more consistent in using it last year, and I am. That is one of the few things that I'm making a hard goal about this year. That I want to be very consistent in using this tracker anytime I purchase anything, and anytime I make anything, so I can truly see what I'm actually using, and where I have very much wasted money, so we can not do that again. Alright, thanks friends. I will see you in the next video.
Keep watching my videos, like, subscribe, and comment.